And the internet doesn't really hold on the phone particularly well. It will just keep switching itself, it will just switch itself off, so you will go back onto 5G if you're not paying attention, which, depends on how much data and stuff you have. In terms of the breakfast was alright. The bacon's it was tasted a bit more like something like pancetta than like bacon we would have in England. Sausages were kind of like those little frank things you get, and they're boiled. The baked beans were cold. They were just plain cold. There wasn't even like waiting. It was just cold. They have a lot of healthy options on there. They've got a couple of the croissant was pretty dense, not very flaky. But yeah, it's included in the price, so it's there. It filled me up, but I wouldn't say it was the best breakfast I had. The juice machine was one of those ones where you press the button and like water seems to come out first, and then whatever juice that you've asked for. Tasted a little bit like squash, more than actual, like, that tang you get on squash than you actually get on orange juice. But yeah, as I say, it wasn't extra included, it was all included, so that's all good. Okay, my review on the second breakfast of this trip. Sorry, this is the second the breakfast review. Everything was cold. They had potato wedges instead of hash browns, but I didn't actually really record anything, and I try not to record anything, but it was generally all cold. And when I went down there, like 10 minutes after 7, when it was supposed to open, it's a bit disappointing. They did have fried eggs down there. Again, as I say, they were cold because they were just left out in the open. But they were runny, and they, something to mop up with some bread. As I say, it's just a little bit disappointing because you can't get anything particularly for it. But as I say, it fills a gap, but it's not necessarily a breakfast you would pay for in lots of frugal work. I know there is healthier options of mozzarella balls and tomato and things like that, but that's not necessarily what I want to eat in the morning. Actually, how much I want to eat it in the afternoon or the evening is debatable, but that kind of very continental thing, I don't really like eating that much. Another thing about the breakfast, the orange juice this morning just came out as water. The apple juice worked, but the orange juice didn't, and I was pressing down on it, so it should have started coming in. But yeah, so as I say, overall, breakfast not the best, but it's included in the price, so I shouldn't really complain, but it'd be nice if it was a slightly better setup of things. A little bit of a final wrap up of Best Western. The area is really quite quiet. Occasionally you'll hear sirens and things, but we are quite close to the park area and quite a lot. There's like lots of shops on the other side. You know, around the corner. So it is quite a busy area with trams and things going on. But you don't really hear that, and you can hear people coming out of the lift from where I am, because it's basically one of the lifts that basically opens up in front of my door. But I haven't really heard people very often. Bed's been comfortable, and everything's smelled clean, and and it's been good quality. I haven't had the person coming in and turning the room. I generally just put the do not disturb sign on the door, and just so I can keep my space, even if it means that things are not necessarily topped up. But as I say, it is a very well set out room. Ignores some of the mess, but it is a well set out room. The lights above, there is no light actually directly in the ceiling. It's on these little cut out sections, which depends on if you want like that. Also, the light to do that is next to the door. So if you, like me, that likes light in places where I'm not usually around, that's good. But it's a bit of a pain if you do need to turn the light off at night. But yeah, I've not had really any problem with this room. So as I say, the only thing with it is the breakfasts in the morning have been a little bit disappointing. But it's okay, and as I said, there are lots of options. And if if you don't necessarily want the cooked option or the hot option, there are a breeze amount of stuff there that you can try. But yeah, I think the bedding and all that stuff has been reasonably good stuff. And I know people don't necessarily watch hotel reviews that I'm doing, but I think this is a decent room for if you're in Prague, for the location of how close it is to things, and it's a good place to be. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.